Hey, brothers and sisters, what's up? This is the Reluctant Nabi back again. And, well, it's getting close to the weekend. I wanted to put this up real quick because, as you know, I've been traveling between Colombia and Brazil. And, a lot's been going on. And so I wanted to put this up to let you brothers know how Afro men are treated by Colombian women versus the black American women. All right. Now, we're just not only talking about the dating scene, we're not talking about just the relationship scene, but we're talking about even at work. There is a stark difference from how you are treated as an Afro man by the so called black women in America and, let's say, women outside of America. Women outside of America, no matter where you are. We're talking about customer service, everything. The attitude and the disrespect that they show us in just in America alone is not new. I want y'all to understand. It is not new. It's always been what it is. So, before I get started, let me greet everybody. Horvorden hardu guda, ola oi to the bang, vasas los bonjour mes amis, keto bawani konnichiwa, ni hao ni ama, sani bonani, jumbo harbaragani, assalamu alaikum and shalom. Now, keep in mind that I deal in probabilities and statistics long before Kevin Samuels, and some of y'all know this, way long before he came on the scene. As a matter of fact, my platform, Kami Sotomayor, Lycus, he borrowed from all of these platforms. He had access to the material. There were people watching for him the content we were putting out. All right. So this is nothing new. Now, while I say this is nothing new, also as well, the treatment that we have received by black women is nothing new now, especially if you're a strong principled so-called black man, if you're a strong principled Afro man. All right, there is a way that you are treated everywhere else, and in some ways you are admired as an Afro man for what you brought. Well, maybe not you personally, but what our leaders brought out, what our leaders did, what our elders did. Okay? And so we look at Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and all of them. People are aware of them. People are aware of them primarily because they were assassinated. And if y'all take note, not a single black woman was assassinated for any cause. Period. Not a single black woman was considered enough of a threat of getting things done for Afro people that the Caucasian system would feel like assassinating them. I want y'all to understand that. Worse than that is that when you look at the legal stuff, for the same crime, the black woman is penalized less than even the white woman and the white man. Remember, I put that stat up prior to this. All right. So I want y'all to understand something. The United States, its people lack culture because we're not trying to remember our futures. I mean, our past. We can't make a future because we can't remember our past. So these elder women are passing their culture. These are the women of Palenque. They pass down the culture. Oh, yes, and Palenque has its own language, which the residents who live there know how to speak. Oh, y'all didn't hear me. I want y'all to get this. The people of Palenque has its own language in which the residents that live there, they all know how to speak it. They have their own schools, and they teach this language in the schools. Now, one of the things, if you ever come to Colombia, all right, Couple of things I want to mention. That you'll get respected in Colombia and Barranquilla, where I'm at right now. All right. But if you want to go to Palenque, it is more cost efficient and time efficient to go to Cartagena, stay in Cartagena, and go to Palenque from there. If you go to the clock tower, all right, you will meet my friends there. And when I say that many of these women that that work there, that do their dress things there, when you meet them there, they will be able to tell you how to get to Palenque, who's going. I have had a friend there, Roberto, that runs a thing to Palenque. I talked to him. I say, Roberto, you rather expensive. You want people, you know. All right. So basically, so you have this. The one, I know both of these women right here. All right. So basically, this is a thing. They embrace their culture. They teach it to their young. What we have taught our children is to not learn about the past. And I was like, why is that? If you learn about the past and the truth of it, you will find that not only were we betrayed by a few men, but collectively by the black woman as well. And the black woman collectively have done more harm to the Afro community and family than the few so-called black men who were part of the FBI COINTELPRO operation. The black woman collectively was part of the overall governmental operation where she made a choice that to do what she did. Okay? Every march that disparaged their image, the black women supported the white woman in. Through the alphabet group, through anything that they wanted. All right? I want y'all to understand. I gave y'all the stat before, and I gave y'all the research paper that found it. That the majority of the LGBTQRSTUVWXYZ, they are 79% Caucasian, Spanish speaking and English speaking. All right? They only consist 12% of Afro people, and of the Afro people, 58% of them are black women. Of that 12% Afro people. Right? Now, it's different, much different how they treat us here. Right? And I'm talking about when you befriend them. And if you're not careful, brothers, a few of them may try to holler at you. And that's okay. But what you don't want is women fighting over you in these places. I'm going to repeat that again for those of you in the back seats. What you don't want is any women fighting over you. You don't want a competition for you. All right? So it's best to talk to no one than to talk to a bunch of people and think they're not going to find out. Because everybody talks. All right? So, while they're showing us love, the BAW shows the Afro man nothing but disrespect. Y'all remember how Aisha Curry was doing her husband. Then Sierra. Okay, y'all don't have to remember this. This is recent. These are recent pictures. That's disrespectful how she's dressed. But she's like, I got a simp. So I don't have to give a damn about his feelings, about anything. Now, I am going to ask you this question. What did this woman and Martin Luther King have in common? All right? And I'm pause a little bit before I carry on. Does anyone know who this woman is, and what is her relationship to Martin Luther King? Meanwhile, let me show you this. Such disrespect and lies came from black women. We're the orange, the Afromen. That when it comes to being an involved dad, the CDC found that the Afro man is the most involved dad in the home, whether he's living in the home or whether he has to struggle and fight with the black woman to see his child and live outside of the home. All right. Now, if you know who this woman is, then you know the disrespect of leadership of Afro strongmen started way back in the 50s, the late part of the 50s. All right, so she jumped on their bandwagon. Yeah, Caucasian women want to trash their men. We're going to trash the Afro man. Now, we not only do we have to do with all the fakery, not only do we have to do with how black women want to make the Afro man responsible for the negative way she put herself out there to get a dollar. All right, but like I said, hidden history. And the reason why they want to hide the history is this. They don't want people to know the prowess of the Afro man in history. Listen to the Sister Barbara Sizemore.
And there are just some things that are not comfortable for white people. They're not comfortable for them to talk about.
And remember, the black mothers ain't teaching this to their children. I said ain't. They're not teaching this to their children either. Pay attention.
The possibility that Africans were here before the Europeans. So what do you do with the heads in Mexico that you find at San Lorenzo, at Tres Zapotes? What do you do with those? All right? You ignore them. What do you do with Columbus's diary that says the Africans know a way to the west, but it goes around the doldrums, we would never survive? What do you do with that? You ignore it. What do you do with Balboa's diary that says we came upon this African village in the isthmus? How did these Africans get here? What do you do with that? You ignore it. Why? To preserve the myth that the Europeans were here first. What do you do with all of this written literature and history that says that Abubakar II of Mali sent 200 ships to the west? One came back and said they were afraid that the others disappeared. And then to have Balboa find this village that looks just like Mali, where he was, what do you do with this information? You ignore it. You ignore it. Why? To preserve the myth of white superiority. That's what our whole educational process is devoted to. What do you do with this whole history? This is a written history, my dear. Written. I'm not talking about hearsay. I'm not talking about a griot said this. I'm not talking about something handed down from one generation to the other through voice. I'm talking about written history of the Egyptians. What do you do with this? You ignore it.
All right. And so while many black mothers want you to ignore history, they have a thing in this too. And their thing is, if you go back and learn the history of what's going on, the men that they want you to think ain't SH discovered a lot before white people got here. I want people to understand when I say that Afro men and women were the original Indians, I'm not saying that we were Mongolian in DNA. I'm saying that the original people that came to the Americas have been shown to be the people coming from the what we now call the African continent, and they got here before the Mongolians did across that ice bridge up in Alaska. And because white people lied about almost everything when it comes to history about us, we don't even know that that's how they got there, because you can't trust it. Because when they've lied so much, you can't trust it. This is why we need to do our own research. All right? And the other thing is, This woman is going to point out the lies that white men was trying to tell about Afro men. But these are the lies that black women were trying to tell about Afro men to prove that we ain't no good and that the majority of us are no good. Like they tried a relationship with good men. No, they only chose the bottom 16%, but want to blame the whole 84% that wasn't chosen by them for their bad decisions. Okay, listen to this.
Well, it looks like we have Candace Owens in the chat. Buckle up, Buttercup, because I'm about to show you some statistics. And this isn't about being a white liberal. This is about being someone who cares about facts and knows that any of this information is easily accessible through the internet. This is the United States government's official website, 2019 crime statistics in the United States. Let's look at the total number of crimes right there. Committed by white people, 4,729,290. Committed by black people, 1,815,144. Then let's scroll over here to the percent distribution. White people were arrested and committed 69.4% of crime. Black people committed 26.6% of crime. American Indian or Alaskan Native committed 2.4% of crime, and Asians committed 1.3% of crime. I'm going to give you a quick preview of the kind of crimes that are being committed and by who.
This should be, y'all should find this very interesting.
So, rape, white people. Robbery, white people. Aggravated assault, white people. Burglary, white people. Larceny, theft, white people. Motor vehicle theft, white people. Arson, white people. Violent crime, white people. Property damage, white people. Other assaults, white people. Forgery, white people. I think you get my point. If you scroll through this list, which again is easily accessible by a simple fucking search of the internet, you will see all other offenses, white people. Now, let's take a look at the Federal Bureau of Prisons and the incarceration rates based on race. This is for federal prison, not state prisons. So that's another issue entirely, that again, black people have an overrepresentation based on the crimes committed. Asian people, oh, look at that. 1.4% of inmates are Asian. That correlates with the amount of crime they commit. Black people are 38.4% of the population. Odd. That's almost a 12% higher rate than they actually commit crime. Native American, 2.5. It's a 0.1 difference between the statistical crimes they commit. White people, 57.7%. And yet, white people commit 69.4% of crimes. What?
Okay, so what she's saying is that a lot of times white people get, and this is the people that will actually got prosecuted. Now, let's look at the Black Book, Ghislaine Maxwell Black Book. All them white people, mainly, that went on that island, did what they did to those youngins, they will never be brought to justice because the judge and everybody else decided to cover up all the dirt and crimes they did to so many. Think about that. Now, so we get back to this, and that you see there is kind of a cordial, jovial relationship between myself and the women here. All right, not just the women here. I have a friendship with a lot of the dudes that be trying to do the hip hop and stuff, and you know, just a lot of stuff going on here, right? And that's because when we go somewhere, one, we know about their culture and respect their culture. Two, it's fun to them when you bring your culture to them. Because you think about this, you already respect their culture, but they want to learn and know just as much about you as you know about them. All right? Now, as you go and just delve into the community further, you will find that there's a lot that look like us. There's a lot going on that look like us. Now, for you, those of you who've watched this long, for those of you who have watched this long, all right, what I can chew. Bodos Kaniknat, what I can chew. That don't make sense now to you right now. All right, but I'm going to answer the question as to who this woman is. And I wonder how many of y'all got it. Remember I put up the video about Azola Curry? All right, was an African-American woman who attempted to assassinate the civil rights leader, Dr. Martin Luther King. She came within inches of taking him out before he was able to do anything. I put the newspaper article up there so that y'all can see that this is more than just WikiLeaks. I mean, not WikiLeaks, but Wikipedia. All right, so you can read that. This is the real. The worst place for a child is with the mother. When you come to child mortality that's caused by the mother, not the father, 71%. Child neglect caused by the mother, not the biological father, 71%. So that's the green thing. And y'all know we did the research, right? So while they're talking about the Afromen, which is the majority that have done right by children, the majority who pay their child support, all right, yes, there's a majority of children that aren't getting their needs met because the black women are producing more children with the bottom 16% coming out of prison than they are with good Afro men. And these are the ones whose lives they don't take in their belly. More than crime, more than accidents, more than cancer, more than heart disease, and all this combined. Black women have taken more Afro people's lives through abortion than every other cause of death combined since 1973. This means, brothers, if you want to save yourselves, black men, get passport, you have other places to go. But the same standards that you're going to hold women to in the United States, them standards have to work everywhere. Trust me on this one, right? And if you have the same standards, you might even find a black woman in the United States that have gotten herself right in her youth, not waiting until she's 40, 50-year-old, gotten herself right in her youth. And then you have that. But then you have other options too. Use everything at your means. That's what the black woman is doing. With that said, I'm out.